Hello, this is Calvin at my World of JSK YouTube channel. I frequently watch people on YouTube showing off and demonstrating their vintage laptops or their vintage computers in general. And it occurred to me that I have a fairly substantial collection of vintage Apple laptops myself, and that maybe I should make videos about some of them, particularly the more interesting ones. So I think I shall. This is the collection as it stands right now. There's another one coming in the mail soon, actually. And we've got power supplies up here, which are sort of organized. And over here we've got peripherals and stuff and a bunch of other stuff. So this, I think, is the most interesting of the lot, though. This is a PowerBook 145B. I'm going to plug it in. Here's its power supply. It's ridiculous. This thing, to give you a sense, here's the outlet. I had to rearrange everything just to plug this in. That's how ridiculous the wallboard is. It's a fairly standard connector, unlike some of the connectors that Apple has used. So we're just going to plug this in. So the story behind this computer is interesting. This is actually a combination of the best parts of two computers. Some of the remaining parts of the other one are down there. The story is, I got this computer several years ago. I got a PowerBook 145B, and it was sort of working. It had the same problem that all PowerBooks of this era have, which is the threaded brass inserts here and here within the display case were completely getting screwed up. But the machine was working. So I decided, I was like a 7th grader or something, I decided, okay, we're going to take this apart, we're going to try to fix the hinge. Well, what ended up happening was we weren't careful enough. Me and my dad, we were collaborating, and we were not careful enough, and what ended up happening was the ribbon cable that carries all the data to the display. If you've ever taken apart one of these, you know that it's obnoxious. It has to stay connected, and so you're setting things aside and things are getting stretched, and what basically happened was that we tore the cable. And so then the PowerBook just sort of sat around for several years, and we were always looking online to try to find a replacement cable, but new old stock parts for these are not easy to find. So during that time I started accumulating a few other laptops, and then about whatever it was, 6 months ago or maybe 3 months ago, I don't know, I decided, okay, this is ridiculous. We're never going to find a new old stock cable. So let's just buy a new PowerBook and cannibalize that one. So that's what I did. Bought another one. The other one also powered right up when we turned it on. And it had a bunch of stuff from some 7th grade girl somewhere, and all of the boys that she had crushes on. And it was pretty funny, and it's a good reminder that you should probably wipe your hard drives, at the very least, before selling old computers. It's always good to procure a power supply. For some reason, eBay sellers never sell these things with power supplies, and it drives me crazy. So it's good to procure a power supply, see what's on there before you get rid of it. But anyway, got the new one, and it took me about, 3 days on and off to completely disassemble pretty much, both of them. Select the best parts from each, and in the time, whatever, that it had taken, the board of the old machine, I see the old machine, but neither of these are the old machine, some of this is the old one, and so whatever, but the board from the old machine had also gone bad. Don't know what happened. So, took the board from the new machine, took the case from the old machine, but the top part is from the new machine, because what we ended up having to do, and I'm gonna set this down for a second and grab the part that I want to show you. This is the display housing from the old machine. And what we ended up having to do was that these brass inserts were so stripped out, and this is what they look like. This is the only one that's still in there, and the plastic around it cracks. All the rest of them are gone. So what we ended up having to do was basically drill holes all the way through. You can see these holes. Screw all the way through and then put bolts on the other side, which held the whole hinge together, but was not exactly a super effective aesthetically. It was not super pretty. So this is the new top case. We took the new screen because I did not trust myself. The cable, if you ever looked at one of these, the cable is like stuck across the back. Did not trust myself to peel it up. I was like, we're going low risk with this. So it's got the new display. It's got the new logic board. It's got the old battery, which doesn't work, obviously. It's got, you know, it's just an amalgamation of parts from both. So here's the, here's the old display. Here's the, I took whatever the best keyboard was, the best rear case. Actually, I think what I ended up doing is, I think this case, apart from the top lid, is entirely the old case, because this case has gunk on the back. And so what ended up happening was I unscrewed the whole board from here, put the whole board in here. Couple of these inserts inside, the threaded brass inserts were broken. Like the plastic was just broken. So we had to do some super gluing inside there and all that, fun stuff. So all of that has resulted in this, in my opinion, really good example of PowerBook 145B, which was a budget model at the time. I'll show you what's going on here. Sorry for the light. Yikes. There's this done. We've got a number of ports. We've got power. We've got HDI 30 SCSI. We've got ADB. Sound out, sound in. Printer, modem, and the power button. Obviously, you can see that this door is gone. It's super easy to break the doors off. I've never actually really seen one with the door attached. There's also some slight cracking here. I did the best that I can to correct that. These legs still work as intended. This hinge, it's kind of hard to see, but the hinge is perfect. It's working perfectly. On the other side, we've got a floppy drive. From what I've heard, it's very difficult to find one of these that doesn't have that problem where the, hello, focus. Hello. Let me fix the focus. Focus fixed. So, from what I've heard, it's quite difficult to find one of these that does not have that problem where those inserts are screwed up. No pun intended. And, so I'm happy that this combination of two, rather, is in really nice shape. I'm really pleased with it. So, I think it turned out great. So, let's plug it in and boot it up. I'm going to put my phone in the little tripod so that I can work the controls. We're going to open it up. I always am very gentle while I open it up because I don't want to cause any more stress than necessary to that hinge. So here we are. We had a Macintosh PowerBook 145B. Over here we've got contrast and brightness sliders. We've got a keyboard. We've got the trackball. These trackball rings. This one's perfect. It's in perfect shape. And the old machine that I had, it was broken. It was just sitting in there. It's the only way that it's locked in there is by these two little plastic clips that break so easily. So I'm so glad that this one's like not broken. Really great. I'm gonna position this so you can see the screen. And I think I'm gonna go turn my light off and try to get some of that glare out of there. Perfect. Here we go. It's a switched outlet. Let's use the other outlet. Take two. Alright, that's visible. I'm going to try to kind of shift it backwards. Here we are. Now, there's, you probably, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a fairly significant amount of just lines that are on the display. If you look at the files over there, you can see these leaks, or whatever they are, ghosting. I don't remember the older display having that, so sometime if I'm feeling really ambitious, I'll swap back in the older display and see if that helps. But for now, it is what it is. There we go, that's kind of fixed it. So, right, I used the old hard drive because I didn't really feel like doing a clean install of System 7 on the new one. I've done it before, and it's a pain. Burning the floppies and all that stuff. So, didn't want to do that. So this is some poem that I wrote in 6th grade, and we're not going to look at that because it's embarrassing. But here you can see those lines there, right? So that's not the world's best thing ever, but it works. So all my vintage computers, if I make another video about a different one, you'll see this too. They all have an about this computer document. So let's open this up, shall we? Also, the contrast just shifts over time, so I do find myself frequently having to readjust these sliders. If you've ever taken apart and reassembled one of these, you know that it's a total pain. There's a board under here, the interconnect board, and there's another board then that has basically the part that connects with these sliders, and when you're reassembling the whole thing, it is a total pain to get these sliders to work properly. Okay, so this basically tells the story that I've already told you verbally, but here's the information we want. It's got a 25 megahertz 68030 processor, and that's out of the newer machine. We've got 8 megs of built-in memory. It's got a 4 megabyte upgrade card installed. I don't know anything about this, but low-end Mac, or whatever the website is, yeah, low-end Mac, or every Mac, something like that, says that the upgrade cards are difficult to find. So the upgrade card came with a new machine, and if they are difficult to find, I guess I'm glad I have one. It's got a 9.8-inch display, 640 by 400. We've got an 80 megabyte drive from the older machine. The entire outer case is from the older machine. We talked about the ports. Original price $16.49 in June '93. You know what? I'm gonna get out my ADB mouse, so I don't have to deal with this trackpad, or the trackball. Not a huge fan of trackballs, although they are better than some of the early trackpads like on the 520C, if I get that out and show it to you. Alright, now where's my mouse? Hello? Hello? Wait, you good? There we are. Okay. So, sold for $16.49 in June 1993. That, in 2017 dollars, is $2,839. I like to do these calculations. All total, purchasing to this machine, I've probably spent around $100 on this. That's it, total. $100 for a beautifully functioning piece of computing history. Now, if we look at the About This Mac menu, PowerBook 145, we're running System 7.1. We got 12K memory, which we talked about. That's about it that's on there. Let's get some contrast readjustment here. I don't remember. This hard drive, it says 60 megabytes. Somebody, like, if you know, does this tell me does this tell me the capacity of the drive or how much is used? I'd really like to know that. And it was not modified in 1904. it thinks it's 1904. It's not. Obviously, battery's dead. Might have to replace the battery at some point. But I think it's harder than it looks. I think the battery is soldered to the board. Yikes. I guess the only other thing left to do is to look at some of the programs. This hard drive, I didn't do this install, so all these applications came with, well, most of them came with it. PageMaker, haven't done much with that. Most of these are useless because most of them revolve around doing things with that would be printed, and I have no way to hook this up to a printer. My little HP printer over there, not gonna play well with the vintage computer. So then we've got Microsoft Word, which is what I use for this. ClarisWorks, which I actually much prefer ClarisWorks to Microsoft Word. And I believe we've got our application up here. Yeah. I love ClarisWorks. I like AppleWorks too, which is what was descended from it. And I remember using AppleWorks in early. Oops, I'll have to blur that out. I remember using AppleWorks in earlier, you know, times, basically. Pardon me. I remember using it in school. When I was in 2nd and 3rd grade, we had Emacs. Those were the worst. You could not use one without it crashing. Then I tried my best to get some Macintosh Garden stuff and install it on here, and none of it works. Like, none of it works. This is FileMaker, Datebook. These things came with it. Glider, SimCity, Combat. Those are the 3 things I tried to install with floppy disks. And they don't work. They crash the whole thing every single time. So we've learned to avoid those. So that's pretty much it with this machine. I mean, the floppy drive works. It works well. See what's on this floppy. Oh yeah, this is the one I put SimCity on. And yeah, if I try to use this on here, it just crashes. And it sort of works on the 520C, but it's got to be run in black and white mode, which is obnoxious. So that's pretty much it on the PowerBook 145B. I absolutely love this computer. I had a lot of fun putting it together, reassembling it. It was a great learning experience, and I think, honestly, that it's a pretty respectable example of a PowerBook 145B. So, thank you for watching. This hopefully will not be the first video I make of vintage laptops, because I've got a number of them, all of which I've repaired in one way or another. But that is it for now. Thank you for watching.